Dive and clinch. Dive and clinch, essential skill in jiu-jitsu. If you're thinking about fights being not a prepared fight, but if you're thinking about a fight happening with a hands up, me and you are going to fight, this is the key to it. The only time you don't need to dive and clinch is if you don't know the fight's happening. If somebody walks up and grabs you from behind, they take that dive and clinch opportunity away because they're not standing there trying to punch you. But if a fight involves straight up punches, somebody's trying to hit you, you have to have a dive and clinch. Right? So dive and clinch looks like this. First part of the dive and clinch is going to be the turtle. You turtle because you know you're going through this minefield. At too far, she doesn't have to turtle. She can be relaxed because I can't touch her because she's too far. Before she gets to too close, she's going to have to go through the minefield of punches. So you've got to be in a turtle. You want to be in a tank if you're going through bullet fire, right? So she's going to turtle up and drive through that punch range. Once she makes contact, then she's in the safe range of too close. Once your head's touching me, you're in wrestling range. Now we're going to talk in a second about how to grab a hold of them and make them stay here, because obviously if you just did this, they just back up. But once you get here, you can deal with grappling or wrestling, right? So back up. On the way in, you've got to change your level. Now, a lot of times when people are attacking you outside, they're bigger and stronger than you, so you don't have to change your level that much because they will most likely be bigger. But the idea is you've got to get your hairline below my hairline. If we collide heads and her hairline is lower, I get the headbutt, right? So if I was short and she ran in without changing her level, she'd headbutt herself on my head. So you're responsible for making sure your hairline is below their hairline. So the first part is turtle, second part, change the level of your hairline. Now in a fight, I only get below their hairline. Go below their eyebrows, because if we collide, you're going to headbutt, and I want to headbutt. I want to do damage. It makes it easier to take somebody down if they're hurt and leaning back than if they're awake and being defensive, right? But for the sake of training, lower your level below their chin, because when you make impact, you're going to impact their chest. This is safer for your partner and actually develops a habit in you of getting lower than is necessary, so when you get in a fight and you do everything a little bit less perfect, you'll be in the right range. Right? If you practice going only to where it's necessary, you might screw up and be out of where you need to be. If you practice going 1.5 feet down, you might end up going 6 inches down and then you'll be in the right spot. So change your level for your partner's sake below their chin. Understand in a fight, I'd rather clip that chin. So change the level of the turtle. One big step makes contact with the head and the forearms. Now that she's against me like this, her arms can come away from her face because we're in grappling range, not punching range. Right? When I become aggressive against this push, if she hits me driving into me, if I'm hitting her as she comes in, I'll be turning. If I'm grabbing her as she comes in, I'll be turning. If I'm resisting her forward drive by stepping back to make a post so I can resist, I have also turned. Now punching and grabbing turn real extreme and are very obvious. Me stepping back to make a forward resistance is a little bit less obvious, but it is still a turn. One of their shoulders are going to withdraw as they get set to be aggressive towards you. When they make that shoulder set, you're going to drop that arm behind their back and hold their waist. This arm's going to go wipe straight across their chest and then grab your hands together like this. Now if their arm happens to be there and you get a hold of the arm, that's cool, keep it, it's good. But don't obsess about it. If their hand is back here for balance or they've reared back to punch, don't worry about it. Get their hips too close is the most important factor. Now here, head's kind of straight up, your spine is straight up and down. This leg is blocking my thigh. You're in position to headbutt if you need to, right? If you need to attack, you can knee me in the groin like this. You can knee me in the thigh with your other leg like this. You can step on my foot. You can be aggressive without letting go of that hand position because you don't want me to get my hips away from you and start hitting you again. So in this position, you're pretty safe. They can knock you on the back of the head. It's not that bad. This hand might be able to generate a little power, but you can still hide your face. Put your cheekbone against your bicep, so if I hit, I'm going to hit you in the skull. It's going to break my hand. If I continue to hit you in the skull and I don't care that I've broken my hand and I'm one of those guys, then it might actually still start to hurt your head. That's okay. Re-grip. Palm your head and re-slide it across the chest. If they're continually touching your head, their arm's going to be in this zone. It's going to be easy to grab and hold on. It's fine, right? Don't do it unless it bothers you. Too many people go like this and they reach on the rear arm. The guy will go and start reaching for that arm because they're scared, and then the dude gets away from it. That's no good. Let them bust their hand up a little bit. Be aware of where the head is. If I hit you and I stop, you didn't have to risk it. If I hit you and hit you and hit you, then you're sure that that's a continual pattern and your arm's going to be where you want it to be. Good? If I squeeze your head instead, don't care unless it really starts to bother you. If it's just a little irritating on your skull, deal with it, because we're going to talk about how to take somebody down and hurt somebody from here. But if it doesn't bother you, don't worry about it. If it really starts to bother you, if it's crushing your jaw, reach up with that hand and squeeze your elbow down, trying to roll their arm down. It's going to take a little pressure off your jaw and make it a little more manageable. Don't forget about this, because if they back up, it's no good. You've got to hold yourself to me to stay too close, right? This leg is important, especially if they're squeezing and controlling the head, because if you let me step around you, you'll give me a lot of leverage to bulldog you to the floor. If you keep that foot in front, then you make it difficult for me to step across. Good? So this is the side clinch position. Here, side clinch position. If while you're doing this, they reach over your head, don't worry about it. Put your ear against their shoulder. Nothing else changes. Now you don't have to worry about re-securing that arm or defending your neck because their arms are over here. You still need to worry about that leg because if they step across, it's easier for them to defend. You'll see about it later. But right here, just stay tight with your ear and your thigh. Keep their hips against you like this. Good. One more time from the front. We're going to go front side clinch. She's going to step in. Here, hits me. She continues her drive because if I don't resist, I won't give the shoulder. When I posture and resist, she takes the side clinch. If this bothers her, she'll take care of it. Like that. If the squeeze bothers her, she'll take care of it. Good. If I slip my arm over, she'll deal with it just like that. Right? Now, rear side clinch, which is the head behind, sometimes you dive straight to rear side clinch. And it's usually, somebody's not going to be facing you and have you dive into them, dive in, and then they move their arm over here for no reason. Usually what will happen if you make a frontal approach and you dive and clinch from here, it's after you make contact and start to go front side clinch that they'll move their arm. That's okay. But sometimes you get it directly. And the way that I'll practice that is you don't need to worry as much about the turtle. You should still have your hands up. But you don't need to worry as much about the turtle. And you don't need to worry about as much of the changing of levels because you're not dealing with somebody boxing with you because they're facing this direction. She's going to practice just getting low enough to get her shoulder under my arm. She's still going to keep her hands up because you don't want to get a bad habit of hands out. She's still going to change her level, but she's going to change her level enough to get the shoulder under my armpit. So she's going to dive right in, steps right across the front of my feet like this into position. One more time. Right leg comes right across. I'm here, she drives right in. Boom, that's diving to the rear side clinch. Now before you go, what the fuck are you doing diving into the rear side clinch when the guy's not even facing you? One thing, once you learn how to defend yourself, you might not get selected as a target. You're going to have more opportunity to defend someone else because you're friends with someone who is getting picked on than you're going to get defending yourself because you're going to carry yourself well and people may not pick you as the guy to fuck with. So, one, defending another, it's very applicable. You don't tap them on the shoulder and tell them you're coming. You go right into side clinch like this. But also, individual fights. Somebody's hockey fighting with you like this. You'll learn this another time. She strips the grip. She crosses my arm. Look, it's the same thing. This person's not looking at you directly. If we're talking about punching and she's moving her head, moving her feet, she gets off to the side. This is rear side clinch. Right? So you need to know how to go to rear side clinch directly when someone is oblique to you. You need to know how to go to rear side clinch off of the front side clinch, and you need to know how to get and establish the front side clinch by itself.